Welcome to Shutter and Flow. Today we're talking to one of our good friends, somebody we've both known for a long time, Chris Parsons. Should we
Hey
clap
there.
or?
Welcome, Chris.
So
You
Chris
better
is
clap.
a photo assistant who's worked with some of the top photographers in the world, and he's assisted in Atlanta, New York, and now currently Nashville.
Yeah,
Yes.
we went to school with Chris. We all went to Art Institute together, and then Chris quickly moved to New York to do his own thing up there. And you were there for what, 10 years?
I was there for a decade, yeah. Full
Yeah.
decade.
So in that time, you worked with pretty much anyone you can think of that came through New York, and I would assume any industry, correct?
Pretty much all across the board, man. I mean, there's not a photo shoot that I haven't been on, really, like stylistically. I mean, anything from still life to fashion to, politicians. I mean, I've been to the White House 3 times. It really covers the gamut living in New York. And now you can do it anywhere. You can live in Atlanta and totally have the same experience. But when we got out of school, you really had to move to New York or LA to get that full blown experience.
So would you say that now, even somewhere in like Nashville, has kind of the same type of shoots that you would have been doing in New York when you were there?
Yeah, yes and no. The production value of New York is so high that it's hard to match that anywhere else. Like Nashville has a pretty large production value because of the large event industry that's from here. Like there's so all the stuff is here, all the producers are here. It's just sometimes you're on set and the production value is just a little touch lower, but it is rapidly increased over the years. And you just see because of everything that's happened with COVID and stuff, most of LA now lives in Nashville. And also the fires recently in California have pushed a lot of people here once they got their insurance money. So you're just seeing it elevate and elevate. Like there's a set designer, I cannot remember his name, but he's one of the best in the world. And he now lives here in Nashville because COVID. And he
Yeah.
moved here and he's like on everything now. And it's really definitely elevated a lot of our stuff here.
Yeah, it's
That's great.
fascinating because I feel like we all live in three different cities where industry has grown over the last few years post COVID or during doing production here in Atlanta, tech moving to Austin where Edward is, and then Nashville. You already had the music scene and country music and gospel music, but then it's like even more stuff and more people moving to that city. Makes it easier to work everywhere.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and that's tech thing's really exploding here, as well. It's just everything's going off here, it seems. And we were totally not expecting that when we moved here. And I had no idea there was really even a photo industry here, to be honest with you. But it just surprised me, you know? And I
Do you
work
feel
all the time.
do you feel like the vibe in terms of the industry or the photo industry is really different there than in New York, just with it being a smaller market? Is it a little more chill?
I don't know. It seems like a lot of the assisting here is very much like a lifelong job. Um, in New York, it was like such a stepping stone, and everyone was trying to shoot, and everyone was like bouncing in and out of assisting. You got one shoot job, and all of a sudden you were shooting all the time, and then 6 months later you're back into assisting. So that's how that was. And here, there's like I don't know, 10 of us that just do it. You know, I'm 42, and everyone else is a similar age. There's very little like the younger people have a harder time breaking in here for many reasons, not gatekeeping, but just, experience level and stuff like that. But for the most part, I'd say it's very similar. Music photography is very similar to fashion photography in the terms of the playfulness of it and the editorial style of it and the looseness of the whole thing. They kind of let you do whatever you want for album packaging. So you're just being very creative. So yeah, it definitely feels like New York here and on most levels. And there's a lot of new studios opening here in Nashville that are really high end with LED walls, and it just has the New York vibe, like the fancy studio you walk through, polished concrete floors, weird woodwork coffee stations, and like that stuff is starting to really happen here, and it's very quickly happening.
Well, I imagine the real estate is so much cheaper compared to any other New York or LA. It's like you're spending so much money to find a studio space there where there you could just find some land that's far enough out that not be ridiculous and just build your own. Is that
Totally,
is that what's
totally.
happening? You're just seeing new stuff just
Uh,
popping up?
I see that happening, and also to see people with so much money it doesn't even matter because they just get a warehouse in downtown and do it, or Germantown or something like that. And the so much insurance money from the fires and so much stuff from COVID, the people come here, they sell their houses, they got like $5 million to spend. So they come here, and it's a tax shelter, Tennessee. So we don't pay state income tax, so it attracts so many, much like Texas has a lot of tax benefits
Yeah.
as well.
Same here.
And people come here, and they, like I think a quarter of the NFL lives here. It's just like people with tons of money live here to shelter their money. So, buying a really nice studio space downtown might not be as crazy as you would think it would be. I don't know, coming from somewhere like South Carolina or something like that to here would be like moving to New York City. That makes sense.
So what percentage of the photographers that you assist for in Nashville live there versus travel in to shoot there?
I'd say it's 50-50. I have like 3 steady guys I like to work for here. And then the other half is like very, very random shoots. Like we did a Joseph A. Banks shoot a few weeks ago. Huge production. Like I remember at one point, it was also 150 degrees outside. And I remember at one point counting 42 people on set for shooting one male model. So
Big
for,
shoot.
for 2 days, you know what I mean? Like big shoot.
You don't see a lot of that
I
anymore.
actually used to do a lot of post-production for the Tailored Brands who owns Joseph A. Banks back in the day. So super fun. I got to work on some of those shoots. Yeah.
That's awesome. I mean, it was a really high-end shoot, man. The production company was from LA. Photographer was from Charleston, but like an old New York guy, Squire Fox. And it was just a very, it was a very big production. So, and it was really fun. And it went off without a hitch here. And, people are very surprised when they come here at the level of production value we have. It is a little less than most places, but they're just always like, wow, you guys are, there's everything here. The citation support has they have all the pro photo packs, you know what I mean? And everything you would ever imagine. So kind of nicer than some of the places in New York I've went to be honest.
Yeah. I think Atlanta's a little bit like that too, right? Like there's so much production going on there. Well, probably because of the film industry there too, which has just grown and grown. And it used to be, LA, New York, maybe Miami for fashion. And that was all that was going on. Maybe Chicago, a couple for the Midwest. But now I feel like the smaller cities, kind of what you would consider a B market, are actually starting to do just as much production as those A markets were.
Oh, absolutely. I'm just amazed at how busy I am here. Like I never thought when I moved here 8 years ago when I moved here, I never thought I'd be so busy as I am now. Like where I turn down jobs constantly. And it's like we're shooting rock stars and stuff like that. It's never like it's never a small time shoot. It's always something really cool. And you get to meet everybody you've ever wanted to meet. And
yeah, how many times have you worked with Dolly Parton at this point?
7.
Yeah. And I hear only the best stories about
her. Are you
her.
on a first name basis yet?
I'm recognized. She says hello. Like she looks at me like, "Oh, I know you." And her Steve, her creative director, he looks at me like he recognizes me too now. And I've had my photo done with her. Like Art Streiber came here and we did the her Person of the Year for People magazine. And after that, they like had everyone line up and do photos with her, and it was really cool. It was awesome.
That's
on the
great.
same gold backdrop we shot on. So if you ever reference that photo, maybe you guys should reference that on the screen. And that same gold background, I can send you the photo of Dolly and I.
Or
That's
even
awesome.
better than that, how about that one time I remember when you were in New York, and was it GQ or Esquire? You were in the photo with Gronk. You were like in the foreground, and it like was in print. You're like holding a light, and it's like a party scene. I remember.
Oh, yeah, totally. No, and that was Peggy Sirota. I worked for Peggy Sirota for almost 10 years, and anytime she came to New York, and then for a while there, we were traveling all around the nation with her. And that was in Miami, for GQ. And it was really, actually, I was holding my phone up, and I was just like, there was a crowd of people surrounding him, like to act like it really wasn't hard. We were in South Beach, and people just came. And I guess you don't need model releases because it's public domain. So she was just shooting everybody, and I was like, oh, here's my shot to get in GQ. Almost got in GQ on the Bill Murray shoot she did. But you can see my top of my head behind a V flat. You can see the very top of my head, but my friend Edward got in that one, handing him a guitar. So we've made some famous appearances over the years.
Yeah, I think
Nice.
that when years ago when you and I you were helping me on a shoot, and it was Bill Hader for TCM, Turner Classic
Yeah,
Movies.
my
And
arm.
like your hand was in it holding an airplane. We were doing like
Yeah.
the Hitchcock like thing.
I did the QR for that, so I definitely retouched your arm at some point.
That was a long time
Oh,
A
ago.
cool.
long time ago. Yeah.
Didn't we
All
leave
right.
my arm in it too?
Yeah,
Yeah,
your
we
arm
left
was
it in
in it
'cause we thought it was
holding an
funnier.
airplane.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is so
remember
funny,
that.
man.
All right, so here's a question that I want to get into. You've worked with so many different photographers, so many different personalities. What, as an assistant, makes it more enjoyable? And it's work, but you want to work with people that you like, and not necessarily naming names or people, but just like things that photographers or producers or crews do to make it enjoyable and not feel like you're just the grunt work getting the job done.
Well, I had to say, top thing off my brain, food. Food, crafty, like have that stuff there. Oh my God, we're doing physical labor. And number two, man, like these days, I feel like we're almost doing the entire photo shoot almost. We're setting up everything. So there's a lot more. Here's something about Nashville. There's way more respect for the assistants on set because we are, lighting everything, not that I'm not taking away from what the photographer's doing at all. Of course, they get the job and everything and they're directing the light. But I feel like as time goes by, assistants, I bet you this is nationally recognized, are doing more and more and more. And you're more like a grip almost. Like you're not even looked at as an assistant really. They're like, people turn to you half the time and ask you what's going on. You know what I mean? That's something I've noticed, but I'd say food, uh, a certain level of respect and niceness. There's not many mean people anymore because there's so many people that can do this job. Right out of school, you can hire some 20-year-old kid to shoot the same photo that almost an Annie Leibovitz would do or something like that, at least light-wise. And nobody's mean anymore. So just being nice, providing some food, something to keep everyone fed and comfortable, and yeah, I think that's about it.
Yeah, I think that's a trend that has gone away, that it used to be back in the day with these big, big fancy photographers that it was like, I'm in charge, you're just the grunt work. And it's like turned more into we're a team to make this happen. And it takes all of us, everyone from the
Oh,
craft
absolutely.
services to every single person. And so I've noticed this trend. I want to see from your perspective, how much more do you feel like it is less people overall on set and more just like we're all pitching in to make it work, be it moving props and doing things, is just kind of like go after it and get it done, versus it used to be like, don't touch this, or in New York, the unions would be like,
Yeah,
don't plug in that cable. Like,
yeah.
are you noticing that trend pushing that direction?
In Nashville, it was a very shocking thing to me when I moved here, how much people touched everything and ran around on set grabbing everything. Like it blew my mind. I don't think I'd ever moved a set wall in my life until I moved here. And we don't do it very often because 3 or 4 big set designers have now moved here, and that culture has come here where they're like, no, we got our dudes, we touch this. But when I moved here, man, I was like, gosh, we do everything. Like you're running around moving set walls. I'm pulling hair back off some person's ear.
Yep.
Like it's just because you're in the middle of nowhere on a 105-degree day. There's no way everyone's focused enough to catch everything. So, and there's a lot more leeway and, like I said, respect for people in my position to step in and say things and do things. I'm constantly speaking up here. I speak up a lot more here than I ever did anywhere else.
So talking about that a little bit, of all the photographers that you've worked with, and you don't have to name names or anything, but what do you think are just some good qualities that they have in terms of directing assistant, and maybe some not good qualities? Like, what would you say is super helpful in terms of getting direction from the photographers, or maybe sometimes bad direction? You can name
Well,
Jeremy as
You
bad
can use me
direction
as an
if you want.
example. We've worked together for a long time.
no, Jeremy does a good job, man. Jeremy's hands-on. There's a lot of people that kind of relinquish too much to us and literally show us a photograph, and I don't know if they even know what they're doing. Some of these, some people I work for sometimes are like 20 years old and are shooting with their phone on us, and they don't know what they're talking about, and they just show you a photograph, and they're like, "Do this," and you're like, "Oh, okay." That drives people crazy. Then there's someone like, and I'm going to mention a name, Art Streiber, one of the most consummate professional people I've ever worked with, comes on sets with literal diagrams, walks you through the whole thing from what we're gonna do from the second they come on set to this movement, this movement, this movement. He's literally on set with you, moving things with you. Just utmost respect, utmost preparedness, just all over, just there's no questions when that person's on set. The things that drive us all crazy is there's questions when someone's on set, like, what are we doing? You know what I mean? Running around, like, so if you can just sit down for 5 minutes and have a talk before the shoot even begins, where God knows we're there for 2 hours before anyone even shows up. One of the most annoying things to me over the years is getting somewhere at 5 a.m. and sitting around for 3 hours. So there's plenty of time. There's plenty of time to talk about what do we do here, or make marks on the floor, show people where to stand. And I don't work with many people assisting wise that don't automatically just lock in on those things. So it really rarely happens, but every once in a while you come across that.
So when somebody comes in and they just have a game plan right off the bat, a lot of communication up front, tells everyone where they need to be and what to do, and actually steps in and helps. Surprise,
Yeah.
surprise, it turns into a great shoot.
Oh, yeah, surprise, surprise. All of a sudden you have
Yeah.
great pictures and everyone's happy. And that's one thing about working with Dolly Parton over the years. It's like as long as you're professional and everything's amazing, everything goes well. You know what I mean? And I've never had a bad experience there because we're professional and everything's flowing,
Yeah, I've always
but
learned that, and I got this from my old creative director. It's like, and you've worked with Michael Kochman. It's like, all right, we'll get there early. We'll take the time to set up and get everything in position. And we'd much rather sit and all have coffee for an hour before talent shows up and know that we're 100% ready and go through those conversations back. All right, this is what we're going to do. This is where we're going to sit, and like plan it all out is it elevates the brand. And also, if we go get coffee, you're happy, talent assistant's happy, crew's
yeah,
happy. Like
yes,
let's sit and enjoy this for a moment.
yes. And that's another thing. Like, I can't tell you how many times there will be an after lunch coffee run where they leave out everyone on set except for 5 people. I get it. It's a lot of money, but and I'm not just talking about I'm talking about everybody. There's 5 people that get their coffee, and then everyone else. And so on certain sets, when everyone's included in everything, it just goes. Everyone's happier, and it's not that much money, and everything goes better. So I'm very food oriented. If you haven't noticed, I'm so skinny and little, man. I run out of energy. I have nothing to burn, so I get very hangry when I haven't eaten. So
Nice.
it's a good thing to me.
Do you still have, and you have a kit of things that you bring with you, I assume, still to this day. What are some key things that you always have with you when you're going to a set?
I have my little a little belt pouch thing, and in that belt pouch, really, I don't have much stuff at all. I have a Leatherman. I have a really nice flashlight, a razor blade, like one of those extendable cutters for cutting paper, a Sharpie, a pen, and that's about it for in there. But I use that stuff every day. I have a pocket knife. I use that every day. Excuse me. I bring my Timbuktu like shoulder bag with me, and in there is just like a couple A clamps, a roll of gaff tape is very essential, I think, to have with you at all times. You'd be amazed at who forgets that. And gloves. I got called out recently for not having gloves, but I lose them all the time. And, just this how it is. But like, you don't have to bring a lot of stuff, but in my mind, I'm always like, what's going to make my day easier? What's going to make the day faster for me? What's going to make, because I want to get out of there too. That's a whole another thing. Like, everyone's trying to get out of there. So the more time we have stalling, because someone doesn't have gaff tape or something like that, just bring some gaff tape in your bag. It's crazy. And also bring water, because you never know where you're going to be.
I mean, you talked a little bit about the kit that you need. So let's say somebody wants to get in the photo world. Obviously, first step in for a lot of people is assisting, regardless of whether or not they went to school. What's your advice for somebody who's trying to break in? You said that Nashville's a little bit more closed off. Would you suggest that if somebody really wants to get in, that they go to a New York or they go to an LA, or just start in whatever town they are? And how do they network? How do they find people? What's your advice?
Oh, I 100% I tell people here to go to New York all the time. If you're like 25 years old, I'm like, what are you doing here?
Yeah.
Like, it's cool and all. I get is you're on the ground floor. Like, sometimes I think back about Atlanta and I'm like, man, I could have bought a house downtown and stayed there. I wouldn't have had the experience of it. I love living in New York. You know what I mean? Like, it's like living in Rome or something like that. It's amazing. And you're in the center of the world. Every night you turn the TV on and the news is about where you live. and events happening where you live, or the person that they're talking about is here. And it's just an amazing place full of culture and experiences. I mean, I've met Anthony Bourdain with Jeremy. I've met Anthony Bourdain with other people. I mean, who gets to say they've talked to Anthony Bourdain multiple times? You know what I mean? And you're not going to get that. Obviously, you're not going to get that now, all due respect. But like, you get these cultural experiences that you cannot get anywhere else. And you're just surrounded by worldliness. Even the restaurants you go to in New York for lunch blow away most of the United States. And, you just get so many experiences. So I always tell young people to move to New York. The way you still get in, I mean, honestly, I know people hate phone calls, but cold call people. That's how I got in. I know I'm coming from a completely different time, like 19 years ago. You had to cold call people, but I had a notebook. I sat there and recorded everything I said. Let's say I was calling Jeremy. I'd be like, I called Jeremy July 10th at 1 p.m., talked to him for 5 minutes, said I'd follow back in 2 weeks, and I won't call you again for 2 weeks, but I'll call you when my little list says so. There's just little things like that. And I think stuff like that, honestly, this day and age would even have more of an effect.
Yeah.
So on people, having someone call you or just write an email, or I don't think I ever actually just showed up somewhere. But most people are very receptive. But yeah, it's just cold calling, and you can really get in. And here's the thing about assisting: you don't have to be a photographer one day. You might like assisting. I like assisting because I get to do everything. I get to do everything on set, and I get to meet the people. I get to be in the experience or do the traveling. But at the end of the day, I'm like, and I leave, and I don't have to do anything, and I get a nice day rate out of it. I got fed all day, usually a really nice restaurant. I got to stay in the nicest hotel in any city we've been to. And I had this whole experience. I get to walk away from it. So it's something that worked for me very well. And it may not be like that for everybody. Some people don't like to be subservient to others, but I mean, I think of it just as a job and I don't wrap my head around it too much.
Yeah,
But
I think that's such a strong argument for it, of the mental load of when you're done with that shoot's gone from your brain. Like, you don't have to
totally.
think about, oh, I have to get this to the client and I have to do this. All you have to think about is like, everything's done. I need to send my invoice, follow up with the producer, and be done with that. And it definitely is a transition mentally to go to that. Like, okay, I have to be in charge of everything now. So I've met many assistants, including yourself, over the years, that it's such a great mentality of like, I'm going to go in, work as hard as I can, enjoy it, make the best stuff, and then walk away. And that's how you get hired again, I think, too. Would you agree with that, between doing everything you can, but then good communication with the other assistants, the digital tech, all of that? Because word of mouth, I assume, is where a lot of jobs come from for you.
99%. And once you get in, it's all about word of mouth. And I mean, professionalism on set. Like one of the main people I work for now, great friend of mine, Robbie Klein. We're like super tight these days. Worked together for almost 10 years now. But the first time I ever worked for him, I walked on set. I won't name the publication or anything, but through my tintype artwork, had a great relationship via the internet. Had never met this creative director. Jeremy knows the story I'm
I
talking
know
about.
exactly who it is.
And he's an amazing person, and we have talked and met since then. But like, I saw that person was on set, and I was working for. I'd never known Robbie in a day in my life, but I didn't approach that guy out of complete respect for Robbie's set. And now, 10 years later, 9, 10 years, 8, 9, 10, whatever it's been, Robbie and I are super good friends. I work for him all the time. We hang out all the time, and I gained that friendship and that employment from someone from being professional. And I don't think I ever lost anything because I got calls from that creative director later down the line to do other things and, blah, blah, blah. So professionalism goes a long way in this business. There's been people on set that literally hand out business cards to people, and it's insane. They're usually 22-year-old kid, and they never get hired. And no one ever says anything to them. No one's ever like, hey, don't do that. You just don't get hired again, and then you're talked about like in kind of a bad way for years. But
So what are some other things that you would tell assistants not to do on set?
gosh, I can't say not get on your phone because we're all always on our phones. That used to be a thing though. Like, don't
Yeah,
get
I
on your
remember
phone.
those
But
days.
quickly went away. I guess it would be more. It's always about the professionalism of everything, because like I said, assisting is a big stepping stone for a lot of people, and it's hard when you're in the room with somebody that you know can change your life to not speak to them. And here's the thing, if you're good in that moment, usually karma comes back around. You do get to speak to that person. You can bring up that even as a moment of like, hey, remember when I didn't talk to you on set? I was trying to be professional. And that makes you seem even bigger. So this is a key thing I've seen over the years. There's not a lot you can do on set because it's a very controlled environment that you're going to get in too much trouble for because someone will tell you to stop immediately. But it's all boils down to professionalism amongst clients and like working hard. And I'm trying to think if there's really trying to think of something that has happened over the years where someone got like really burned. Most people are pretty happy to be there. That's the thing. It's like you feel very lucky a lot of times to be in these places, so you're going to behave. I hope that answered your question.
Yeah, I think so. Do you have anything you want to plug? I figured we could wrap this up.
I do want to say a big part of being a photo assistant and being happy, you might not need to chase a commercial career, but you definitely need to keep shooting pictures like you always did. Like I have 10 crown photo, my 10 type thing, which I've seen nice success with over the years. It's scratched that creative itch, is scratched that attention itch over the years for me, for where like it makes photo assisting okay for me to do because I know I did fine art on the side and what I should have always done was chase fine art, and that was my photo career. It was never commercial. I realized quickly I did not want to do the commercial, at least the shooting part or producing part. Chasing the fine art really made, I don't want to say bearable because it makes it seem like I can't be on set, but it made me feel a heck of a lot better about working for others because I have something going on my own. And then my YouTube channel, Fishing Centric, I just started. That's a whole nother creative lane I've gone down. Like I always have creative things going on the outside of photo assisting, so I always feel okay about going on set and working for people and not getting that creative itch scratched on set because I do it all the time offset. So that's a huge piece of advice I can give people.
Yeah, I think at some point we'll have to have you back on just to talk about Fishing Centric because I know you put a lot of thought into it, and I think it'll be really interesting for people to hear about.
Yeah, like building your YouTube and like all the things you've done for it, and you're just getting going. As I was lucky to go out fishing with you one day, which was one of the best days I've had in a long time. Like I loved it.
I have to get that video out actually. That is on the board for like the next 10 days. I'm about to go on a really big outing, and in the next 10 days I want to get that video done. It's done, but then I have all your drone stuff you shot that I want to interlace into it and kind of correct a few things because I've been learning a lot about editing and I can make it a better video, but I want to put that out. And you know, it's just, if you always have something creative going on, you will always be good at working for others because you're doing your thing on the side and you have your whole other thing going on. So this is just, you know, photo assisting is a great way to make a great paycheck and supplement your income in a way to where you can do other things, if that makes sense.
That's great. Well, thanks for being our first guest,
of course.
Chris. Hopefully we'll get down the line and we'll have you back on.
Thank you guys. That was fun.
Guys.